Why does it seem like the image of a traditional wife has been hijacked by this concept of a damsel in distress? Someone who's highly oppressed and just a slave to men. It appears as though the woman who is supposed to exemplify traditional values is somehow weak and docile, walking around aimlessly because her only duty is to the kitchen or cleaning the same room repeatedly, doing all the things that we think a traditional wife should be responsible for, and doing it in ways that are unrealistic or unattainable, sending a message to women that once again, you are not enough. If you look on social media, you see these women walking around in high heel shoes with bright red lipstick and pin-up hair while cooking dinner for their family of 12 every single day in cheerful bliss. And if you're not that woman, then somehow you're not fulfilling God's intention for marriage, and you're not God's idea of a traditional wife. Well, that can't be any further from the truth. A matter of fact, as a matter of fact, it is harmful and wounding to women. There is no way the Proverbs 31 woman was walking around in 3-inch heels, floating off the ground on her incline or decline. And no, you are not obligated to do everything listed in Proverbs 31, but she does serve as a guide for us, a guide on how to be virtuous. Because see, that's the message in Proverbs 31. She was a virtuous woman who prioritized her house above all. Before anything is mentioned in the scripture, it starts by saying, who can find her? Meaning it's not easy to find a woman of these standards. It's not because it's just so hard and that these standards are just so difficult. It's because they challenge every woman to deny ourselves, especially in a world where feminism teaches women to be the center of attention. It teaches us to idolize ourselves. It then says that she's more precious than jewels. Why are we more precious than jewels? Because we're not something that can be easily traded up or tossed to the side like these material possessions. Oh no, we are far more valuable than material possessions. And then it says that the heart of her husband trusts in her, and he will have no lack of gain. She does him good, not harm, all the days of her life. He will have no lack of gain because he is supposed to be the producer. You see, feminism kicks the man to the curb and places the woman in the driver's seat. And now we have more women producing and carrying households than men. Whether you agree or disagree, it just doesn't really matter because it doesn't make it right. The more women desire to stand in their rightful lane, the more men will find themselves in their lane, and then balance will occur. I would rather live in a 1-bedroom apartment where my husband is supporting us, where he feels valued, where he feels that much needed self-worth and achievement that breeds the respect that he thrives on, all while I'm maintaining the home and feeling secure and confident. I'd rather have that than to have both parties working to the sweat of our brow, working hard, trying to make all this money to live in this mansion and be out of biblical order. Because feminism tells us a traditional wife is under some form of oppression. I have to agree that they're not completely off. If only it was as easy as these fake images present. If only I could walk around in high-heeled shoes and cook dinner every once in a while and look beautiful all the time and just be a trophy in marriage rather than a staple. If only marriage came with a built-in house and a white picket fence free of any challenges, of course every woman would live traditionally. But the fact is, it doesn't. And the role of a traditional wife is to make a home no matter the circumstances. Because a virtuous wife understands that stability is the only foundation you can build on. And no matter where you are in life, a woman can bring stability to the home. I once saw a homeless couple who was living under a bridge in a small tent. And when I came by to pass out supplies, I noticed that the woman that was living in the tent placed a welcome home mat at the entrance of the tent. And when the tent was unzipped, I noticed organization of items. It looked like she had created rooms in a very, very small space. And I immediately thought to myself, "Man, a woman can create a home no matter the circumstances." For those of us who need a little more direction, come with me to Titus 2. Here we can find an outline of what a true virtuous woman looks like. In Titus 2, it instructs older women in the Lord, not older in age, to teach younger women in the Lord what a traditional virtuous woman should look like. She's a woman who is reverent or respectful. She's not slanderous, meaning she's not a liar and she's not gossiping. She's not a slave to much wine. In other words, she's not a drunk. So we're not out here just having wine all over and over and over again. She's taught how to love her husbands and her children correctly, because the love that's attached to emotion is not going to work. It has to be a choice, a decision to submit to your husband, a decision to love your husband and love your children the way you're supposed to love them. She's self-controlled, pure. She's a homemaker. She's kind. She's submissive to her husband, understanding what it truly means to be a traditional wife is a much needed step towards detoxing feminism.